You're watching Delmarva Life, and it is a very special day today. We are honored to be here in Milford to celebrate Douglas Gibson turning 100 years old. Happy birthday, Douglas!
Thank you.
Can you tell me how it feels to be turning 100 years old?
Feels very good, but I don't see any difference in that than any other birthday.
Same as any other birthday, huh?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So here's the deal, Douglas. In your 100 years of life, in your 10 decades of life, you've lived a lot of life. Let's start back at the beginning. We want to know about it all. Tell us about what it was like growing up on a farm in Oxford. You were one of 10 children?
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was very good. Most families down there were very large, and we were a part of the family staff. My father had many big crops, and he needed us to help him to harvest them.
And now, as a family and throughout your life, you suffered from a lot of segregation. Can you tell us about that?
Well, segregation was so prevalent that you just accepted it. It wasn't much of anything you could do about it. Mm-hmm. We just thought that was a way to live until we got older and learned that it was just a bad habit that the other people had.
Mm-hmm. And tell me what you did to kind of fight for civil rights here.
Well, all I did was to do the things that we were supposed to be doing. We were thought of as people who should listen and do what they're told rather than do what they knew was right or wrong. And the Milford people, I came from Maryland here, and the people here had been accepting that so long, it was accepted to do whatever you were told and not do what you were having in mind. I couldn't do that. I got into some dangerous situations at times, but I wasn't afraid of it. Milford was a segregated place, I mean very segregated, and it was thought of as a way of life for blacks, and I wasn't willing to accept that. So I got through it, fortunately, without having to go to jail. I only missed it by a hair.
Are there any specific incidents that come to mind when you think of this?
I was going to a meeting to meet several white men, and I know that they did not want me around, so I put $300 on the table and told my wife, this is my bail money, because I know I'm going to get into trouble. I'm not going to do what they want me to do. I'm going to do what I want to do. And I knew I was going to get into trouble, so here's my bail money.
And
it didn't come up. Yeah, they told me I wasn't going to change, so they had to get used to the way I thought and the way I acted.
What was it that made you so unafraid and so willing to fight?
Well, I knew that what I was doing was right, and whatever you were doing and was right as a black person, you were violating the things that they had in mind for you. You couldn't do what you wanted to do or do what was right. You had to do what they told you or what they asked you to do.
And Mr. Gibson, you've had so many different experiences of all kinds in your life. Do you ever think about how jam-packed your life is?
I haven't had time to do that.
You haven't had time. So you are a Navy veteran, which we want to say, of course, thank you for your service. Can you tell us a little bit about your service? You served in Pearl Harbor, right?
Yeah. I don't know why I ended up at Pearl Harbor, but that was a good experience. It was in the height of the war, and every bit of the action the Navy was to take, it was put together at Pearl Harbor. Battleship, cruisers, all the different kinds of ships. Every kind of ship the Navy had was at Pearl Harbor. You wouldn't want to believe your own eyes looking at what you could see at Pearl Harbor.
Really?
Yeah.
And was it during your service that you started studying architecture?
Architecture came a little bit late in my life because I wanted to be able to design my own home. And this is it.
And you designed this home?
Yeah.
And from what I understand too, you also built this home.
Yes.
How did that come about?
Well, I always wanted to own or live in a brick home, but I never dreamed that I would. That was the furthest thing from my mind. It came in there at a time that I was willing and glad to accept it, and I just took the challenge.
And what got you excited about studying architecture? Why did you like architecture so much?
I always liked to be able to design the home I've always dreamed about. That's what carried me into architecture.
And you taught architecture too, right?
Yes.
What did you like about teaching architecture to people?
I like the teaching architecture. It give you a chance to find out what other people had in mind in the way of their design that they wanted to do. And architecture is a way for a person to reveal himself.
Yeah. Now, another way that you revealed yourself is through your duck carving.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that. I have a lot of questions about that because you are known all over for your duck carving. So why don't we take a quick break?
Okay.
And then when we come back, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
All right. Celebrating Douglas Gibson's 100th birthday. Delmarva Life. We'll be right back. You're watching Delmarva Life, and we're still here in Milford, continuing to get to know the amazing man that is 100-year-old Douglas Gibson. And I want to show you this. This is one of his decoys. Now, Douglas, do you remember doing this one specifically, or have you done just a ton?
It's just another decoy to me.
Just another decoy. I mean, this is beautiful. So can you tell us a little bit about, you got into duck carving because your father did it, right?
Yes. I always wanted to do it because I had watched him do it, and he didn't have the tools that I had. He did a good job, but when I came along, I wanted to try to emulate the duck as it really was, and I reached that.
Yeah.
And I have them all over the world now.
Yeah. Can you tell us the places that your ducks are?
I have them in Africa, Australia, Europe, and all over the world, because when I used to go to Washington, D.C. for the big show, all those people were there. And it was rare to see a person who did ducks.
Really?
Yeah. And there I was with ducks there.
Yeah. Is that when you went to the Smithsonian?
Yes.
And you were known for your feathering technique,
Yeah.
right? So what is it about the way that you do the feathers that stands out?
Well, there's one good thing about it. You do the feathers that would help you explain that area of the duck and why they're there and the size of them and how many there's supposed to be. I have a burning tool. I burn the feathers in and the grains of the feathers as they come down. That's not one of my best. That's just what I keep around.
You don't think this is one of your best?
Oh, no.
So there's a collection at Delaware State
Yeah.
University? What does it mean to you that there's a collection at Delaware State University?
Well, it just means that persons who don't understand decoys very much can go there and see what they're like, their anatomy and feathering and so forth.
And did you teach people?
Yes, I've had classes in that. I did classes at Smithsonian and many other decoy shows and other shows that were going on around the whole area of 100 miles around.
What is the most important thing to you to teach somebody about carving decoys?
The most important thing to me is that they listen and follow directions very closely, because a duck being feathered wrong should not even be seen. So they have to be very careful and put the right feathers in the right place. Yeah. I hate to repeat this, I have ducks all over the world.
Yeah.
And it's unusual to find ducks of that type, because most people that I see and that I do shows with don't take the time to put the feathers in. They just do the body and that's it.
So that's what makes you stand out.
Yeah.
So you would say that the accolade that you're most proud of is being named Duck Carver of the Year by Ducks Unlimited.
Yes.
And what year was that?
What was that? 2000 year.
In 2000. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today and show off at least one of your incredible collection of ducks. And again, happy 100th birthday. Did you ever think that you would hit your 100th birthday?
No, I had no idea it was that. My grandfather, I think it was my grandfather went to 105.
All right. So it's in the family.
Yeah.
All right. Can't wait to see where you go. All right. We are again here in Milford celebrating Douglas Gibson's 100th birthday. He has a lot of cards he's still got to open, so that's exciting too.